Canada, the land of opportunity, right? It's the country immigrants dream of calling home. Stunning landscapes, free healthcare, world-class education. It's the perfect package. Or is it? Thousands of immigrants are leaving Canada every single year. Why? What's pushing people to give up on the Canadian dream? Stay tuned, because we're diving into the top 10 reasons behind this surprising trend. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Reason number 10. The big picture, a Canadian crisis. Canada has long been known for its welcoming immigration policies, attracting people from around the world in search of better opportunities, safety, and a high quality of life. Immigrants have been essential to Canada's growth, economic prosperity, and social fabric. However, the trends of rising discontent and growing numbers of immigrants leaving the country reveal a much deeper problem, one that cannot be ignored. The issues immigrants face, such as the skyrocketing cost of living, unaffordable housing, underemployment, and healthcare delays, are not isolated cases. Instead, they point to a systemic failure in Canadian policies and infrastructure that threatens the country's future. In recent years, Canada has been experiencing a demographic shift. Its aging population is heavily dependent on immigration to fill key roles in various industries. The nation relies on its newcomers to sustain the economy, contribute to taxes, and care for its aging citizens. Immigrants make up a significant portion of the labor force, especially in sectors like healthcare, technology, construction, and agriculture. Without a steady flow of immigrants, Canada would face severe labor shortages, which could undermine its economic competitiveness on the global stage. However, if more immigrants continue to leave due to the factors we've discussed, Canada could face a severe shortage of workers in vital sectors. In particular, industries like healthcare, education, and technology could struggle to fill positions, leading to decreased productivity, slower innovation, and less economic growth. The Canadian government's reliance on immigration to keep the country's workforce intact could backfire if these trends continue unchecked. The challenge is clear. Without addressing the problems newcomers face, rising living costs, employment issues, and a struggling healthcare system, the country risks losing its position as a global leader in attracting skilled professionals and workers. One of the most concerning aspects of this crisis is the failure to adequately integrate immigrants into Canadian society. Many newcomers feel marginalized and disconnected, unable to fully realize their potential in the Canadian workforce or social environment. The lack of support, language barriers, and delayed recognition of foreign credentials prevent them from contributing to their fullest capacity. These obstacles contribute to feelings of frustration, leading some to either return to their home countries or move to more immigrant-friendly destinations like Australia, Germany, or the United States. What's clear is that Canada must undergo significant reforms if it wants to remain a top destination for immigrants. It needs a comprehensive approach that addresses systemic problems in housing, job recognition, healthcare, and cultural integration. If these challenges aren't addressed, the influx of immigrants may slow, and Canada could face an immigration crisis of its own, losing talent and workers that are critical for its future prosperity. Reason number 9. The rise of better options elsewhere. As Canada struggles to address the challenges faced by its immigrant population, other countries have capitalized on opportunities to create more attractive environments for immigrants. The US, Australia, Germany, and other nations are actively improving their immigration policies, offering streamlined processes, lower living costs, and better job opportunities in comparison to Canada. As a result, many immigrants who initially chose Canada as their destination are now looking elsewhere for better prospects. Countries like Australia have made it easier for immigrants to gain residency by implementing more flexible points-based systems that allow skilled workers to move more quickly through the immigration process. Unlike Canada, where immigrants often face long waiting times for permanent residency and work permits, Australia offers a more efficient system that grants faster access to work opportunities, health benefits, and social security. This efficiency, combined with an overall lower cost of living, makes Australia an appealing option for many who might otherwise choose Canada. Germany has also been a rising star in the global competition for skilled labor. With a robust economy and a high demand for skilled professionals, especially in technology, engineering, and healthcare, Germany's immigration system is designed to attract skilled workers with higher wages and faster pathways to permanent residency. Additionally, Germany has become a leader in integrating immigrants into its workforce and society. Its language and cultural integration programs make it easier for newcomers to adjust and thrive in the country. In the United States, despite political challenges, there are still many industries offering abundant opportunities for skilled immigrants, especially in fields like technology, finance, and healthcare. The U.S. also has a higher earning potential in many sectors compared to Canada, which has drawn both skilled workers and entrepreneurs. While the U.S. has its own set of immigration hurdles, including political and administrative obstacles, it still offers competitive advantages in terms of wages, career progression, and industry growth. For many immigrants who face the systemic challenges we've outlined in Canada, like underemployment, high taxes, unaffordable housing, and lengthy immigration processing times, these alternative countries offer more attractive opportunities. Better job recognition, a lower cost of living, and faster routes to citizenship are becoming significant draws for skilled professionals who want to build a stable future for themselves and their families. Ultimately, Canada's reputation as a land of opportunity is being challenged by these competing destinations that offer better prospects in terms of job opportunities, career growth, and overall living conditions. If Canada hopes to maintain its position as a top destination for immigrants, it must rethink its immigration policies and address the critical issues that are pushing people to look elsewhere. Reason number 8. Bureaucratic challenges, the red tape. One of the most significant barriers immigrants face in Canada is the complexity and inefficiency of the country's immigration system. While Canada is known for its open-door policies, the process of obtaining permanent residency, work permits, and citizenship is often bogged down by bureaucratic inefficiency and lengthy wait times. Many immigrants find themselves stuck in limbo for months or even years as they await the processing of their applications. This system of delays, unclear procedures, and convoluted rules adds unnecessary stress to immigrants, many of whom already face the pressure of settling into a new country and culture. The application process for permanent residency is often a major hurdle. Newcomers who arrive with skills, experience, and education can find themselves stuck in temporary work status for years before they even qualify for permanent residency. These delays can prevent immigrants from fully integrating into Canadian society, including being able to buy a home, access healthcare, and secure stable employment. Furthermore, those in temporary residency status often face restrictions on the types of jobs they can take, limiting their ability to advance their careers or earn a reasonable income. For immigrants who have already established lives in Canada, the process of renewing work permits or obtaining citizenship can be similarly frustrating. The documentation required is often confusing, and the process can take an extensive amount of time. Many immigrants are left feeling powerless as they navigate a system that seems to hinder rather than help them. In some cases, immigrants who have made significant contributions to Canadian society, such as those in essential services or skilled professions, still find themselves waiting for years to have their applications processed. In addition to the inefficiency of the process, the language barrier can also create difficulties. While the Canadian government provides some resources in multiple languages, many immigrants find it challenging to understand the full scope of requirements for their specific situation. This leads to mistakes in documentation, which can cause further delays or even rejection of applications. Without proper guidance, the complexity of the system can become overwhelming. As a result of these bureaucratic challenges, many immigrants grow disillusioned and frustrated with Canada's immigration system. Some of them eventually decide that it's easier to leave and settle in a country with a more transparent and efficient system. Other countries, such as Australia, have streamlined their immigration processes, allowing skilled workers to quickly gain access to work permits and permanent residency. With fewer delays and clearer procedures, these nations offer a more attractive option for immigrants who are tired of navigating Canada's complex bureaucracy. Reason number 7. The weather, a harsh reality. Canada's harsh winters are a defining feature of life in the country, but for many immigrants, they are an unexpected challenge that can have serious physical and emotional impacts. For those coming from warmer climates, adjusting to Canada's long, cold winters can be difficult, both mentally and physically. While some newcomers may have been prepared for the idea of cold weather, the reality of 6 months of snow, freezing temperatures, and icy winds is often overwhelming. In cities like Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Calgary, winter temperatures can plummet to -30 degrees Celsius, -22 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, with snow accumulation that often lasts from November to March. For immigrants who have lived in tropical or temperate climates their entire lives, the shock of such severe weather can take a significant toll on their mental and physical health. Adjusting to the cold requires new clothing, adaptations to daily routines, and sometimes even medical attention for conditions like frostbite or cold-related illnesses. Beyond the discomfort, the winter months in Canada can also affect mental health. Seasonal affective disorder, SAD, a form of depression related to reduced sunlight, is common in Canada's northern regions. The long, dark days of winter can lead to feelings of isolation, sadness, and lethargy, particularly among immigrants who may already feel disconnected from their new environment. The physical and emotional challenges associated with Canada's winter weather are often underestimated by those coming from warmer countries. For some, the harsh winters can make the idea of returning to a more temperate climate seem like an appealing option. Countries with milder winters, such as Australia or the southern US, are increasingly attractive to immigrants seeking a more comfortable and pleasant year-round climate. In the end, while Canada's winter climate may be a hallmark of its identity, it is also a significant hurdle for many immigrants. For those who struggle with the cold, long winters can contribute to their decision to leave and seek out sunnier, more hospitable destinations. Reason number 6. Isolation and lack of support networks. The emotional and social aspects of immigration are often overlooked, but they are among the most significant factors driving immigrants to leave Canada. When newcomers arrive in a new country, they often face an overwhelming sense of isolation. Leaving behind family, friends, and familiar surroundings can create deep feelings of loneliness and homesickness. Although Canada is known for being a multicultural country, the reality is that immigrants often struggle to find a sense of belonging, especially in the early years. One of the main reasons for this isolation is the difficulty immigrants face in building new support networks. In their home countries, many immigrants had strong family and community connections that provided emotional support during challenging times. But in Canada, they may find it difficult to establish similar networks. Cultural differences, language barriers, and unfamiliarity with the social and professional landscapes of their new country make it hard to connect with others. For immigrants who speak neither English nor French fluently, the language barrier can create further isolation. Even those who are proficient in one of Canada's official languages may struggle to communicate effectively in professional settings, where the nuances of language and cultural expectations are different from what they're used to. Social interactions can feel strained, and the difficulty of making friends or building connections can leave immigrants feeling alienated. For many immigrants, the absence of a strong support network in Canada can be a major source of stress. The emotional toll of isolation can lead to mental health challenges, including anxiety, depression, and a sense of being stuck. Without the support of friends and family, immigrants may feel overwhelmed by the challenges of adjusting to life in a new country. For some, this isolation becomes a tipping point, prompting them to leave Canada and return to their home countries where they feel more connected and supported. Reason number 5. Healthcare woes, the hidden truth. Canada's universal healthcare system has long been praised as one of the country's greatest strengths. However, for many immigrants, the reality of accessing healthcare is far more complicated than the idealized image of a free and efficient system. While healthcare is indeed accessible in Canada, it often comes with significant delays, long wait times, and a lack of specialized care. For newcomers, the first experience with the Canadian healthcare system can be a rude awakening. Immigrants may encounter long waiting times for appointments with family doctors or specialists, and this issue is particularly acute in urban areas where there is a high demand for healthcare services. What's more, immigrants from countries with more accessible healthcare systems may find the delays in Canada frustrating and discouraging. Access to specialized medical care can also be a challenge. For many immigrants who arrive in Canada with chronic health conditions or specific medical needs, finding the right doctor or specialist can be a difficult and time-consuming process. This delay in care can lead to worsening health conditions, particularly for those who are not familiar with the healthcare system and may not know how to navigate it efficiently. Furthermore, while healthcare may be free in Canada, immigrants still face indirect costs. Many provinces have long waiting periods for newcomers to gain access to provincial health coverage, meaning that immigrants may be forced to pay for private health insurance or out-of-pocket medical expenses for months, sometimes even years, after arriving in Canada. Reason number 4. The cost of living crisis. Canada's cost of living has risen significantly in recent years, with inflation hitting everyday expenses like food, housing, and transportation. For immigrants arriving in Canada with limited financial resources, the high cost of living quickly becomes one of the biggest challenges they face. The price of groceries, gasoline, healthcare, and basic utilities has increased to the point where many immigrants find themselves struggling just to get by. For example, the price of housing in cities like Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal has skyrocketed, making it nearly impossible for many immigrants to afford to buy a home. Rent prices have also soared, with average monthly rents for apartments in major cities reaching upwards of $2,000 per month. Many immigrants, particularly those with young children, struggle to afford these costs and may have to settle for smaller, more affordable accommodations that offer fewer amenities. In addition to housing, the general cost of living in Canada has become increasingly burdensome. Everyday expenses such as groceries, utilities, transportation, and childcare have seen significant price hikes. For a family of 4, for example, grocery bills can easily exceed $1,000 per month in major urban centers like Toronto and Vancouver. The high cost of living leaves many immigrants with very little disposable income, making it hard to save, invest, or even afford basic comforts. Public transportation in large cities is another area where costs have surged. Monthly passes can cost upwards of $150 in cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, which is a significant strain on a household budget. Car ownership, which many immigrants rely on in places with less robust public transit systems, also comes with high costs related to insurance, maintenance, and fuel. Childcare costs are another significant factor contributing to the overall financial burden on immigrant families. In many provinces, daycare and after-school care can cost more than $1,000 per month per child. This expense can be especially challenging for immigrants who may not have family or a support network to help with childcare, further exacerbating the strain on their finances. Even though Canada's income tax system offers benefits for low-income families, the sheer high cost of living often means that immigrants are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to cover basic expenses without much room for savings or long-term financial security. For those who came to Canada with the expectation of improving their economic standing, the crushing weight of these costs can feel like a betrayal of the dream they had when they first arrived. Given the financial strain, many immigrants are starting to reconsider their decision to settle in Canada. As other countries such as Australia and the US offer lower living costs or more affordable housing options, many are opting to leave Canada in search of better financial opportunities. Reason number 3. Job market skills wasted. One of the most frustrating aspects of life in Canada for immigrants is the mismatch between their qualifications and the types of jobs available to them. Many immigrants arrive in Canada with advanced degrees, professional experience, and specialized skills, only to find that they are unable to find work that matches their qualifications. Despite Canada's reputation as a knowledge-based economy, the country's labor market does not always recognize foreign credentials and experience, which leaves many immigrants underemployed. In fields such as medicine, engineering, law, and architecture, where professional certification is often required to practice, immigrants may find that their foreign qualifications are not automatically recognized by Canadian authorities. This means they must go through lengthy and expensive processes to have their credentials reassessed, or in some cases, they may be required to take additional education or training, which could delay their entry into the workforce by years. For example, a doctor who has practiced medicine in their home country for a decade may find themselves unable to practice in Canada until they pass additional exams, undergo training, or complete a residency program. This leaves highly qualified professionals working in low-wage jobs far below their skill level, such as driving taxis or working in retail. This mismatch can lead to feelings of disillusionment, as immigrants find that the investment in education and training they made back home holds little value in Canada's competitive job market. Even for immigrants with degrees in fields that don't require professional certification, finding a job that reflects their skills and experience can be difficult. Discrimination in the hiring process, lack of Canadian work experience, and language barriers all contribute to the high rates of underemployment among immigrants. Many newcomers end up working in survival jobs that don't align with their professional goals, leaving them frustrated and disheartened. The loss of career potential can lead to a sense of wasted opportunity, making immigrants more likely to consider leaving Canada for places where their qualifications and experience are better valued. Ultimately, the inability to match immigrant skills with appropriate employment opportunities is a significant factor driving them to leave Canada. When immigrants cannot achieve the career success they envisioned, they are left questioning whether Canada is really the land of opportunity they once thought it to be. Reason number 2. The housing crisis, a dream deferred. Among the most pressing challenges that immigrants face in Canada today is the housing crisis. For many, the promise of affordable housing and a stable living situation is central to their decision to move to Canada. However, what they find upon arrival is a rapidly escalating housing market that is far beyond their financial reach. In cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, housing prices have skyrocketed to the point where buying a home is nearly impossible for newcomers, especially those who arrive with limited savings or who are just starting to establish themselves in the country. The high demand for housing, combined with limited supply, has led to an intense competition for available homes and rental properties. As a result, home prices in many major urban centers have surged to over $1 million for even modest properties.